and gentlemen, welcome to Sauvignon Blanc South Africa's virtual awards evening to announce the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10 for 2020. The annual Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10 competition was started in 2007 to promote innovation and excellence of the Sauvignon Blanc cultivar and reward those making wines of true distinction. I hope that you are as excited as I am about tonight's grand reveal and that you are celebrating in true Sauvignon style. Let's raise our glasses to all the deserving entries from all over our beautiful winemaking country. Cheers to you! Our hashtag for tonight's event is hashtag Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10. Please do join the social media conversation. You can tag Sauvignon Blanc SA on Twitter at Sauvignon SA and on Facebook and Instagram as at Sauvignon Blanc SA. We all love our South African wines, and tonight you as a guest can contribute to the VinPro Foundation in support of a worthy student in the wine industry. The VinPro Foundation assists the wine industry to find meaningful programs in rural communities. We therefore appeal to you tonight. Let's invest in the future of our industry, an inclusive wine industry built on the capabilities of deserving people. To make your contribution, you can just scan the QR code provided, or please do visit www.vinprofoundation.org.za. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Arya Botha, Chairman of Sauvignon Blanc South Africa.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's an honor to join you tonight at Sauvignon Blanc South Africa's Top 10 Wine Awards. I'm 100% sure that 2020 will never be forgotten, and I hope that we can add some good memories tonight. Now is not the time to be down in the dumps. Now is not the time to make hasty decisions. Now is not the time to blame anybody or anything. Now is the time to stand together. Now is the time to show the world what South Africa can do. And now is the time to celebrate Sauvignon Blanc. I want to congratulate everybody that entered into the top 10 competition this year. You are part of an elite group. You are part of the number one selling brand in and from South Africa. You are part of a group that will show the world what we can do. I need to thank our judges, led by Dr. Winifred Baumann and joined by Charles Hopkins, Rutger van Wyk and Fiona McDonald, that tasted 149 wines over 3 days. I want to thank our partners FNB. Yes guys, thank you. That's all we can say. Thank you for understanding our industry and contributing to our success story. Also a big thanks to Lafort, to Agri Expo, to WineTech and VinLab for making this a success story. I've been playing a song in my head the whole day, and it's from a movie that my kids watched last night. And the movie's name is Trolls, and the little girl sings, "If you knock me down, I will get back up again." And I think it is very relevant in this day and age. Tonight, we bring you a very unique experience. A wine awards with a twist, and something that hasn't been done in our industry. Tonight we celebrate the best Sauvignon Blancs in South Africa. Cheers guys, and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for some entertainment by South Africa's master storyteller, Nataniël.
This story is called Hercules 1. I had just started high school when my mother one day walked into the kitchen and said, "Get the English diary and look up what sexually abominable means." Why, I asked. My mother said, "Your cousin Hercules is getting married and your father's family wants us to come to the wedding, but they want us to stay with my family. They say because you play the recorder, your puberty might not develop the right way, and you might become sexually abominable and upset your cousins. I do not know of anything on this earth that could have an effect on a family of giants and prison guards, and I will not be offended by people who use powdered milk, but we will go. Your father feels bad enough about his origins. Hercules was the youngest and the smallest of the cousins on that part of the family. But he was very, very quiet, and he had a sad look because the corners of his mouth turned downwards, like those of people who experience disappointment during the second part of their lives. He worked in an office that organized deliveries for a company that made raisins in Wellington, and he belonged to a church for men. They had meetings in a secret building in the veld next to the N2, just before Gordons Bay, and they were called the Order of Selected Facts and Silence of the Loins. And he was getting married to a girl called Cynthia, whom he had met during an interfaith weekend in a tiny hall that was in the middle of Gordons Bay. Cynthia belonged to a correspondence church called the Sisterhood of Silence and Envelopes. And these weekends were organized to encourage what the church leaders called good faith breeding, forcing the members to share hymn books. And both Hercules and Cynthia found the hymn book interactions really awkward, and with as few words as possible, decided that it could only be avoided by marriage. When my grandmother, the one on the other side of the family, heard about the wedding and that we were coming to stay, she said, "I know that boy. He walked past this house. I have seen trees grow with more energy. I invited him in, and I had to look for a pulse twice during the same cup of tea. But once he spoke, he used 2 complete sentences. He's definitely the clever one in that family." Person like that develops a membrane, inside or outside, visible or invisible, to keep himself sane. And until that membrane is broken, he will never be part of any form of life. That boy needs to break out now if he wants to make a speech or a baby. And this is the end of Hercules Part 1. Part 2 will follow shortly.
Wow, what a story. And I am sure you are just as intrigued as I am to hear how this story continues a bit later in the program. Ladies and gentlemen, now for the big moment. There was outstanding support for the competition again this year. A total of 149 wines from 96 producers competed for the coveted title. 4 judges and 3 protégés judged the wines over 3 days. Our judges lauded the exceptional quality of entries, especially from the 2019 vintage, as well as the wooded wines. Our top 20 finalists have been known for a while now, and it's time to reveal the top 10. The very first winner of the 2020 Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10 is Alfie's Drift Sauvignon Blanc Reserve 2020. 3 generations of Fundomavers have developed Alfie's Drift outside Worcester from humble beginnings to a destination of true excellence. The Sauvignon Blanc grapes destined for this Reserve Sauvignon Blanc are carefully handpicked from selected vineyards along the banks of the Breda River. Matured in new French oak barrels for 6 months, the Reserve Sauvignon Blanc is a 2020 vintage to put on your must-have list. Well done to Alfie Fundomaver and winemaker Rian Murray. The second winner of the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10 is the Silmore Limited Edition Sauvignon Blanc 2019. This wooded wine is a tribute to the vision of Cecil Morgan, who expressed his passion for high-quality wines through founding Silmore Winery. Silmore is set in the heart of the Worcester Valley in the Scapa-Yeovil region en route to Villiers-Dorp. The winery is 100% fair trade certified and has 450 hectares under vineyard. This top 10 award for the limited edition Sauvignon Blanc, a wine of great intensity and flavor, is a first for Silmore. An achievement to be immensely proud of for winemaker Quinton van der Westhuizen and his team. I would like to introduce to you now Stefan Claassen, Provincial Head of F&B Business for Western and Eastern Cape. F&B is the platinum sponsor for this event, and we thank them for their continued support.
Thank you, Zola. It's really our privilege to be involved in this year's F&B Sauvignon Blanc Awards. This started in 2013, so it's year number 8 for the competition. It's getting more and more competitive every year. Now we know if you are a winemaker and a wine entrepreneur in South Africa today, and you had the agility to get through load shedding and the drought and COVID and the negative effects of exports of wine, you can truly call yourself a robust entrepreneur. We also know that in tough times, people turn to brands that they know and trust. And we hope that F&B and Sauvignon Blanc together are two brands that can collaborate and promote the South African wine industry out there in the world today. We also know that the best deals and the best brands are built in tough times. So now is the time to push forward and not pull back, to promote us as a country and us as an industry out to the world there. As F&B, we're very positive about agri as a sector and specifically about the wine industry. It's an industry that's grown strongly over the last few years. And it's also one of the biggest job creators in South Africa, with more than 290,000 people working in the industry across the value chain of wine and wine tourism. It's a great source of foreign currency for the country. Now, we all know what lockdown did, but right after lockdown in July when it opened, we had a record month of wine exports for the country. It's also good to see that the wine industry is getting more and more diverse and that more and more female winemakers are coming through. That can only help to make the industry and the wine better and better. Let's turn to this year's awards. Firstly, congratulations to the 20 finalists. You had to fight your way open through 149 entries just to get into the final group, and that's a big task. And then I spoke to Dr. Winnie Bowman and she said, when you look at the top 10, it's really fantastic wine producers, and we're very impressed with the process and the passion that winemakers put into the industry today. And that's what is necessary to make South African wine world-class and compete with the best in the world out there. So big congratulations. We want you to enjoy the wine and enjoy the function, and we look forward to this association and carrying on with this association in the years to come. Thank you, Zola. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Next up for your entertainment is Nataniël with a bit more about Hercules for us.
This is Hercules Part 2. The day before the wedding, while stirring a lump of powdered milk into a coffee, my mother mentioned Hercules' membrane to his father, my uncle, who thought for a while and then said, I agree. That boy has not even kissed that girl yet. A father should take his son into the wild, make a fire and tell him things. The last time Hercules went to a bush, he found a church. We should take drastic action. We should buy really good wine and somehow get him to like it. Then we walked to the wine shop. The uncle, one huge cousin, and me. At the shop, my uncle, with the confidence of a connoisseur, asked for 1 bottle of dry white Sauvignon and 1 bottle of blood red but not thick. For a moment, I forgot that I might possibly be abominable and asked him why the red wine should not be thick. And then he said, because it stains your mug. The next day, we all drove to Gordons Bay to the hall where the almost dead couple had met. And we attended the wedding that made everything that ever happened afterwards look nice. At some point, my uncle poured wine into 2 glasses, and then he tiptoed to the couple sitting at the main ugly table, where he whispered words like tradition, necessary, and please. The couple then took the glasses, and Cynthia drank the dry white Sauvignon, and Hercules drank the blood red but not thick. Then he got up from his chair, held onto the table, and cleared his throat. There was silence in the hall. A strange noise came out of Hercules. It was a soft, ghostly, whistling sound. He poisoned them, whispered my mother. Wait, he's singing, said my father. Slowly, the words came out of Hercules. And then the notes, with more and more confidence, louder and louder, until he grabbed Cynthia by the hand, pulled her from the chair and held her tightly. On top of his voice, he sang that immortal anthem by Anne Murray, You Light Up My Life. And By the end of the song, there was thunderous applause, and for the first time ever, the couple smiled. And that is the sign of excellent wine, said my uncle. And I believed him. We all believed him for a long, long time. Cynthia gave birth to 3 healthy sons who are grown-ups now and all work with raisins. And for a long time, I used this story to illustrate the power of great timing, of doing the right thing at the right moment, and of only serving the best wine. But lately, I keep on thinking about that moment just before my uncle went to the table, when I tried to go to the bathroom, and I opened the door, and inside, the huge cousin was holding Hercules by his collar. And he was slapping him really hard, and he was screaming, "You better come right, you abominable scon, or I will kill every one of those church bastards with his own cake fork." Could that explain something?
Ladies and gentlemen, time now to announce winner number 3 of the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10. And that is Dimmersdal Winter Ferment Sauvignon Blanc 2020. That makes it 4 years in a row, the only wine to achieve such a fabulous feat over the last 4 years. Congratulations to winemaker Taste Low and the Dimmersdal team. With vineyards situated on the cool slopes of the Dorpsberg, Dimmersdal wines are the perfect expression of the distinct Durbanville terroir. The winter ferment, a new world style of Sauvignon Blanc, is made using a revolutionary process where the Sauvignon Blanc juice is frozen during harvest and then thawed 5 months later, after which it is fermented to produce a wine with exceptional tropical flavors. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I am definitely getting very excited about all of these beautiful and innovative wines. Time now to announce winner number 4 of the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10. And the number 4 winner is Cederberg Wines Ghost Corner Wild Ferment Sauvignon Blanc 2018. The only 2018 vintage in this year's top 10 is indeed a wine of many accolades for winemaker David Nieuwoud from Cederberg Private Cellar in the Cederberg. The Ghost Corner range is inspired by the extreme coastal area around Cape Agulhas, close to Elim, known as Spook Drive, where many ships have been wrecked. The Ghost Corner range of wines are as intriguing and extreme as the story of their origin at the southernmost tip of the Cape winelands. The Ghost Corner Wild Ferment is a wooded, naturally fermented Sauvignon Blanc and one that I am really looking forward to enjoying. Just a reminder to call on your support for the Vinpro Foundation. Your contribution might just help create a future Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10 in the vineyard or the cellar. To make your contribution, please scan the QR code provided or do visit www.vinprofoundation.org.za. And now to hear once again from our wonderful storyteller of the evening, Nataniël.
In die jare toe ek nog geglo het mishandeling deur joernaliste, organiseerders en gehore was normaal, het ek ja gesê vir baie vertonings. So bel 'n vrou my, een van daai met 'n klokkie in die stem, en vra of ek sal sing by 'n hoërskool in Germiston. Sy sê ek moenie skrik vir die hoofstraat nie, hulle wag my in met suikerwater. 3 maande later tref ek toe die hoofstraat en dit is die gatslag wat sy beloof het, maar 'n baie groot sonbril en die hardop gebede van my begeleier kry my tot by die skoolhek. Op die trap staan 'n vrou in 'n kort moulose bontrokkie van lap wat ek herken uit my laerskooldae. Welkom, sê sy. As ek sê kloktoring, sonskyn, agapanthus en Kersrose, waaraan dink jy? Haar klokkie maak so ping op elke tweede woord. Ek sê Swellendam se moederkerk. Nee, lag sy. Kom in. 2 tree later is ons in die saal. My pa se bobeen het presies so gelyk toe die garage deur geval het. Alles is groen en pers. Die plafon, die mure, die vloer, die tafels, die stoele. Dis ons matriekafskeid, sê sy. Ons tema is die rolprent Boland met Christe 2 en Annemey Brink. En sy het hierdie rokkie gedra toe hulle beklei het. Alles van ons dekor is in die skakerings van 'n wynplaas. En julle kostuums is daar agter. Ek sê, ek het my eie kostuums. Spaar dit, sê sy, ons het maande gewerk. Die skoolhoof gaan nie jou naam sê nie. Hy gaan net skree, dis Parstyd, en dan kom jy op as 'n druiwetros. Agter die verhoog in die badkamer staan 'n tafel met toebroodjies, 'n geraamde foto van Christus 2 en die res van die vertrek is gevul deur 'n baie groot donkerpers hut uit glasvesel. Hier is die tros, sê die vrou. Ek sê dis dan 'n long. Dit lyk beter as jy hom aan het sê. Sy die man maak eintlik net kanoes. Jy moet van onderaf inklim en hierdie is vir die begeleier. In die hoek staan 'n stort met ligblou gordyne. Sy maak die gordyne oop. Binne is 'n winkelpop met 'n duikpak. Uit die duikpak kom 'n baie lang paal. Bo aan die paal is 'n aluminium sirkel en aan die sirkel hang die gordyne. Dit is 'n reënbui, sê sy, tipies Kaaps. Hy moet net af en toe sy hande uitsteek dat mense nie dink jy sing met 'n typ nie. Ek sê, hoe moet ek die mikrofoon vashou? Die long het nie moue nie. Sy sê, hier is 'n leerling in groen. Sy is jou blaar. Sy sal die mikrofoon vashou. Ek moet net aan jou noem dat die swaalkie in ons stoorkamer 'n nesie gemaak het binne die tros. As sy ontsteld raak, mag sy dalk jou been aanval, maar dit is regtig nie seer nie. Ek het nie veel gesê nie. Ook nie toe 'n besonderse dik leerling in 'n groen lyfkous opdaag nie. Ek het my gesig geverf, ek het die begeleier gaan toezip in sy reënbui, in my glasvesel geklim en gewag dat die skoolhoof skree, Parstyd. 'n Kollig het aangegaan, 'n massiewe long, 'n dik groen wurm en 'n stort het geskuifel tot in die middel van die verhoog. Die begeleier het sy arms uitgesteek, teruggetrek en toe begin speel. Ek het begin sing met soveel van 'n Bolandse aksent as wat jy nodig het vir Delta Dawn. Die swaalkie het wakker geword en met spanningsdiarree in die long begin rondvlieg. 'n Vrou in 'n blink reënjas het opgespring en hande geklap. Eers 10 jaar later het ek uitgevind, dit was 'n bekende Nederlandse skilder, Sandra. Sy het vir familie in die ooste van Johannesburg kom kuier en wou 'n bietjie van die tipiese kultuur beleef. Vandag hang daar in die Zwijgsame Museum in Utrecht 'n skildery van 'n enorme long, 'n baie groot rispe en 2 hande wat by 'n orkaan uitkom. Hierdie skildery staan bekend as The Plague en word elke jaar deur 4 miljoen mense bewonder. My boodskap is aan elkeen wie se wyn vandag nie die erkenning gaan kry wat dit verdien nie. Jy het nou die geleentheid om kliphard te vloek, om kliphard te sê wat jy eintlik dink van elkeen wat glo hy's 'n wynjoernalis, elkeen wat dink hy's 'n judge, elke wyngids wat glo hy's die begin en die einde. As 'n wynplaas in Germiston die kunswêreld gaande kan hê, dink wat is jou moontlikhede. Ek is nie regtig seker of hierdie storie die waarheid is nie. Deesdae, hoe meer ek lieg, hoe meer glo ek dit.
Right, time now to announce winner number 5 of the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10. And that winner is Iona Elgin Highlands Wild Ferment Sauvignon Blanc 2019. There is something truly special about Sauvignon Blanc grown in cool conditions. And Iona is the coolest vineyard in the Cape, 420 meters above sea level, high above the picturesque Elgin Valley, surrounded by the Kugelberg Nature Reserve and overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. In a country where cool sites are precious, these vineyards are like gold. The grapes ripening up to 2 months later than other Cape vineyards. This wine is complex, with nuances from the wild ferment in large French oak barrels and soft acidity from the cool vineyards. Elegant and sophisticated. Congratulations to winemaker Werner Miller and the Iona team. And now, the winner of number 6 of the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10. And the winner is Kleine Zalza Family Reserve Sauvignon Blanc 2019. 2019 was one of South Africa's best Sauvignon Blanc vintages in history, also for Kleine Zalze, whose award-winning wines are known for their distinctly South African character, boasting lively, full-bodied flavors that reflect the local climate and terroir. The grapes for this family reserve Sauvignon Blanc were selected from vineyards in Durbanville and Darling, handpicked early in the morning and in some cases even during the night. This is a serious wine with a long future and another feather in their cap for winemaker Aria Botha and the Kleine Zalze team. Congrats! And now, time for more Nataniël magic. This time, a theme so very close to my heart too.
As a boy of about 8, I used to spend a lot of time in Aunt Susie and Aunt Kit's tiny house in Porterville. And every year, when the kumquats were bright orange, they would make the man from the dairy come to the house to open 2 bottles of white wine. Their fingers could not wrestle the corks anymore. Then they would put 6 cups of whole kumquats, 2 vanilla pots, and half a bottle of wine into a large saucepan and let it boil for a few minutes until there was no more liquid. Then they would let the kumquats cool and spoon them into 4 glass jars. And they would add half a vanilla pod and lots of sugar into every jar and fill the jars with the rest of the wine. Then they would seal the jars and put them on the shelf on top of the tiny stove. And every day they would turn the bottles until one day you could not see the sugar anymore. 3 months later, they would open the first jar and pour the golden liquid into tiny glasses. And the kumquats were eaten with vanilla cake and custard. I never got to taste any of these. But to this day, I know what graceful living looks like. And cooking with wine became a habit in my house since the day I started cooking. I do not have wine in a refrigerator. I do not have a collection, but there are many bottles next to the daily spices. Twice a week, white rice, brown rice, gets cooked with stock and wine, a 30-year-old staple by now. Deglazing the pan happens every day, and all the salads by now is accepted that wine is used instead of vinegar. Fish, especially my beloved haddock, fresh and dried mushrooms, all beg for wine to be added. Nobody on my team is pregnant or underage, so this is our favorite. Wine vinaigrette gets rubbed on the inside of a large baguette or a ciabatta, and then it gets filled with rocket, baby spinach, olives, and thinly sliced onions. And it gets wrapped and pressed down overnight. The next day, we cut it into squares and pan fry it. The past 10 years, my time in France has taught me to buy wine as an ingredient as passionately and as curiously as when others look for a drink. The families I know in France drink differently from the families I know here. In France, wine is left over, and it gets frozen in cubes for soup and sauces and risotto. No fruit dessert ever gets made without wine. Casseroles, pan roasts, rabbit in the oven, white wine coq au vin, marinated mackerel, and beurre blanc. None of these are possible without wine. When they bake cakes, half the butter in the recipe is replaced with champagne or light wines. And recently, I asked my brother, what else do the people of Nantes do with Sauvignon Blanc? And he said everything. Many, many years ago, I was really upset because somebody had recorded a hideous version of one of my songs. And then Mynie Groevier said to me, my baby, when you put a product out into the world, that product becomes an orphan and has nothing to do with you anymore. And anybody who picks it up will look after it the way they believe is right. So if anybody is making a beautiful wine and simply cannot imagine that some of us can only cook with it, we can.
Ladies and gentlemen, now time to announce winner number 7 of the Sauvignon Blanc Top 10. And the winner is Ormond Chip of the Old Block Sauvignon Blanc 2019. Sauvignon Blanc has become the signature wine of the Darling district, home to Ormond Private Cellar. Here, the Darling Hills roll and fall along the contours of an ancient granite intrusion guarding the Atlantic Ocean, while banks of fog roll onto the foot of the hills, blessing the vineyard with coolness and moisture. Being a cultivar that responds very favorably to cool growing environment, Sauvignon Blanc here produces intense herbaceous and fruity aromas. And the signature of the Chip of the Old Block Sauvignon Blanc is a gentle breeze from the cold Atlantic Ocean, leading to a savory taste on the palate. To the owner, Theo Basson, and the team, we salute you. Time now for winner number 8 of the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10. And the winner is Paul Kluwer Sauvignon Blanc 2019. As a fourth-generation family business, Paul Kluwer Wines of the De Rust Estate pioneered the Elgin Valley as a premium wine-growing region. Influenced by altitude, slope, prevailing winds, and sunlight interception, the cool Elgin terroir results in naturally balanced wines with complex flavors. The Paul Kluwer Sauvignon Blanc 2019 is the ideal wine aperitif, but is best enjoyed with food, a match made in Elgin heaven when it comes to summer salads as well as seafood and cheese platters through autumn and winter. Congratulations to the whole Paul Kluwer team. And now, before we announce the 2 final winners, Nataniël is back with some entertainment. Enjoy the show.
Die wat gereeld lees, kan reis sonder om die huis te verlaat, opvoeding ontvang sonder om eksamen te skryf en wyn geniet sonder om te drink. In die wêreld van bekende skrywers en gesogte sprekers wemel dit van beskrywings, opinies en wyshede. Die antieke Grieke het geglo dat jy nie net oor wyn skryf nie, maar met wyn. Die beker wyn was deel van die skryfgereedskap en 'n aanvaarde lid van die literatuurproses. Homer het gesê, geen gedig is ooit geskryf deur 'n waterdrinker. Homer Simpson het gesê, wyn is die oorsaak en oplossing vir alle probleme. In baie van Shakespeare se 38 dramas word wyn beskryf as die draer van geluk. Benjamin Franklin het gesê, wine is the proof that God loves us. Marguerite Duras, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Edgar Allan Poe, E. Cummings, Eugene O'Neill, William Faulkner en Tennessee Williams het nie net ontspoor weens hulle liefde vir die glas nie, maar ook onsterflike skryfwerk nagelaat. Dorothy Parker het gedrink en dan geskryf oor haar gedrink. Publieke dramas, persoonlike traumas, mediese probleme, selfdoodpogings en vroeë sterftes ten spyt is die wêreld vandag dankbaar oor die legendariese kombinasie van vog en kreatiwiteit. In literatuur is wyn 'n bekende en geliefde verskynsel. Romans soos A Gentleman in Paris, The Depth of Pleasure, A Long Finish en Revisiting Brideshead word beskryf as wynboeke. En wynkenners het selfs voorstelle vir pairings. Watter wyn drink jy tydens watter deel van watter boek? Nog gewilder is die historiese sêgoed van beroemde wynliefhebbers. Hemingway het gesê, wine is one of the most civilized things in the world and one of the most natural things of the world. Maya Angelou het gesê, independence is a heady draft. If you drink it in your youth, it can have the same effect on the brain as young wine has. Galileo het gesê, wine is sunlight held together by water. Pat Paulse het gesê, jy hou nooit 'n goeie wyn aan die bokant vas nie, die papiersak val af. Drew Barrymore het gesê, ek weet wynkenners kyk na my en dink, hoe durf jy? En my gunsteling, Samuel Johnson het gesê, this is one of the disadvantages of wine. It makes man mistake words for thoughts.
Ladies and gentlemen, now to announce the final 2 winners of the Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10. Oh, and they are both from Stellenbosch. Winner number 9 is Stellenbosch Vineyards Southern View Sauvignon Blanc 2020. Stellenbosch Vineyards is one of the largest wine producers in South Africa, with the privilege of producing wine in the prestigious grape-growing region of Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch Vineyards' range of wines bears testament to the excellent quality of this area. Grapes are sourced from 3 different southern-facing vineyard sites, and then finally, the individual wines from the 3 sites are meticulously blended to create an exceptional balanced wine, the Southern View Sauvignon Blanc 2020. It is a modern-styled Sauvignon Blanc that shows elegance and finesse. Well done to winemaker Bernard Claassen and the team. Time for the final winner, winner number 10, and that is Stark Conde Round Mountain Sauvignon Blanc 2019, coming round the mountain for the 2nd time in a row. Stark Conde is located on the Oude Nectar Farm in the Jonkershoek Valley, Stellenbosch. The vineyards range in elevation from 150 meters to 600 meters, making vineyard sites with distinct characteristics. The elegant white wine was crafted from 29-year-old Sauvignon Blanc vineyard, located on one of the highest slopes on the farm. Traditionally made with barrel fermentation, the Round Mountain has a modern fruitiness coupled with a classic structure. 2019 was an excellent wine year for Stark Conde, and this wine has all the characteristics to age nicely too. A huge congratulations to winemaker Rutger van Beek and the team. To end off our extraordinary evening of celebration with you, our guests, our wonderful sponsor F&B, and the very best winemakers of Sauvignon Blanc in South Africa, we need an out-of-ordinary conclusion, right? Ladies and gentlemen, for the very last time this evening, we bring you Nataniël with Ritual.
My grandmother always used to tell my cousin Maria, before you marry a man, you watch him eat. This can make you dread every meal for the rest of your life, or tell you if you will travel the world. Mankind has always been shaped by rituals. These are repeated moments or special events that honor culture, faith, and identity. These rituals celebrate power and pride, or humility and obedience. And they can vary from parades, marches, festivals, religious ceremonies, meditations, travels, and pilgrimages to small daily gestures, food offerings, caregiving, social habits, and mealtime etiquette. These days, fewer people are taking part in organized or public displays of belief, but it gives structure to lives and convictions. It shows if people are determined or proud or successful or strong or true or passionate. And it also reminds people of their roots, and it keeps tradition alive. And it reminds people and it convinces them that they're part of some form of structure. It also inspires and is a source of beauty. But most of all, it fascinates. It shows us how many different people and places there are and how little we know. And it also breeds tolerance. Rituals also educate new generations and give tools to a weakening and increasingly unprepared youth. I grew up in a house where there was never any alcohol. So when I left, I started drinking everything I could get my hands on until I had to stop completely. I grew up in a house where there was only healthy food. So when I left, I started binging on junk food until my weight problems ended up in the magazines. I grew up in a time when rules were excessive and people were suspicious. So as soon as I had the opportunity, I ended my studies and started painting my face and wore clothes that would shock. I only started settling down once rituals entered my daily life. Wine has always been part of rituals. And I have no idea whose responsibility it is. But the rituals that still exist in selected households should be taught to all others. Winemakers might have wine on the table at any ordinary meal. Nutritionists might have balanced meals at all times. Artists might teach the children the history of the masters. But in an everyday household where survival, exhaustion, stress, and noise drain life of all sacred moments, who will restore the rituals? If wine is to be the tool and the symbol it used to be, a reminder of good life, of quality, of slow eating, of appreciation, of social skills, of proper conversation and moderation, who should spread the knowledge? I think the people who make it, and those who want it to be respected, and those who need it to have a guaranteed future, not just to their own family and friends and clients and exclusive circles, but to the whole world in a real and simple and interesting and humble and effective way. This could be the road back to civilization, and I thank you in advance.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the 2020 Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10 winners a hearty applause virtually from everywhere. Congratulations, everybody. I hope that you are all as excited as I am about the future of Sauvignon Blanc South Africa. To keep in touch, please do follow Sauvignon Blanc SA's social media and subscribe to our newsletter on the website www.sauvignonblanc.com. Also, make sure you watch out for the International Sauvignon Blanc Day celebrations in the month of May. Thank you so much for joining us, and cheers to the 2020 Sauvignon Blanc SA Top 10.